Welcome to CoatingsCast, the ultimate podcast dedicated to the science, art, and innovation of liquid and fluid applied roofing, coatings for surfaces, and waterproofing. It's time to roll up our sleeves, put on our lab coats, and dive headfirst into the world of liquid protection that keeps your roofs and surfaces in prime condition. The future is here, and it's liquid, so don't miss out. This is CoatingsCast, where every drop counts in the world of roof and surface protection. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this very special 3-part series of CoatingsCast with Progressive Materials with my friend Jeff. My name is Megan Ellsworth here at Coatings Coffee Shop, and you're listening to CoatingsCast. So, hi, Jeff. How are you?
I am doing well. Looking forward to doing the third one, but I'm quite sad that it's the last one, so we'll have to set up something again to do another one soon.
We totally will have to do that. I am also a little sad, but also excited to kind of bring it all together, what it's titled today, and wrap it all up. So let's dive in and have you just tell us about yourself and Progressive Materials.
Yeah, so my name is Jeff. I am the Technical and Education Coordinator for Progressive Materials. At Progressive Materials, we manufacture a full line of high-quality silicone and acrylic products and roof systems.
Amazing. Okay. So we've asked this question in the previous 2 episodes as well, but let's dive in even farther into why the relationship between the contractor and manufacturer is so important, and why is it so central to Progressive Materials and how you all train?
So we believe that the relationship between our contractors and ourselves is the key to successful jobs, providing the level of service that we want to provide, providing the level of products that we want to provide. So that relationship is central to that. That's the nucleus of the whole thing, right? The training, that initial contact, if you will, that first contact is really where we start to develop that relationship with our contractors.
Yeah.
It's where our contractors really learn who we are. And quite frankly, it's where we present who we are to them. And inevitably, most of them are a little skeptical, right? Well, are they really going to do the things they say they're going to do, that kind of thing. So That kind of sets the expectation that our contractors have for us. And then as the relationship develops, we have that opportunity to prove that to them. And it also sets the expectation with our contractor on what we expect, right? We talk about the standard we hold our products and ourselves to, and the standard that we're going to hold our contractors to. So it kind of, puts everybody in their place in the relationship and what we want out of it and what they want out of it. And if either side doesn't want that, well, then we can walk away right then and there. If everybody wants to move forward, which is usually the case, then we do. And it's usually a beautiful thing.
Love it. Love that. Amazing. Okay, so how do you keep hoop jumping from becoming a part of this process?
Well, a certain level of hoop jumping, unfortunately, is just a necessary evil, right?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
trainings that we do could be looked at as a hoop you got to jump through. We try to limit the hoops, right? With other training programs and other manufacturers, they're going to put you in a room with tons of other contractors, and they're going to throw a bunch of information at you so that they can say they did, right? So on the backside of your job, when there's a warranty issue and you made a mistake as the contractor, they can say, well, we told you, you're kind of on your own. And I would never call out any manufacturers, but there are a couple out there that kind of have a reputation for doing those types of things. That's not what we are. I don't want to speak too much to that. I'd much rather talk about how great PM is.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, we try to limit the hoops, right? We truly want to bring education to the forefront of our trainings. We don't want to just call something a training when it's really just an information dump. That's not what our intention is. That's why we do the trainings one-on-one. That's why we come to you. We schedule one a day. That's, all the things we've previously talked about. It's to limit those hoops. We genuinely want to inform and educate our contractors, whether they need tons of education or whether they just need a few little blanks filled in. That's genuinely what our motives are. So I guess the short answer is we reduce the hoops that you have to jump through. We make you jump through the ones that we can't avoid. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that just being upfront and honest like you all are, like that is key to that relationship and keeping a genuine relationship between you and the contractor and the contractor and the manufacturer.
And you can ask anybody that's dealt with me and certainly dealt with Jay, my boss. We are nothing if not honest and direct. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We are going to tell you yes or no, and I think that's personally, I prefer the directness and the honesty over just trying to sell me something.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So can you describe what a typical training session looks like, whether at your facility or in the field? I know you've kind of talked about it, but maybe what does it look like in the field?
So in the field, we've already kind of talked about the process. The contractor gets in touch with the regional manager. Regional manager passes them along to me. We have a conversation so I can kind of go into that training, or John, our other trainer, can go into that training with the correct mindset on what your goals are, where you're trying to get, what you're doing, what you're trying to do, whatever it might be. But generally, you dictate the time, you dictate the location. Most of the time will be in a conference room at that roofer's office, so kind of their home turf. If they don't have a conference room, that's fine. We'll locate like a meeting room at a hotel near them, and we'll set it up. We have a TV, we have a PowerPoint that we go through. And as I've previously mentioned, the first thing I say is I want this to be conversational. I want this to, be friendly to you guys and fill in the blanks that you have. So usually it ends up being a lot more like a big chat session with everybody in the room and myself. I'm a very loosey-goosey kind of guy. I'm not the guy that's going to come in and say, please hold your questions to the end. That's not how I operate. John's the same way. We love to crack jokes. There's a lot of stories. As I've said before, both of us we're roofers. So we've got tons of funny stories, horror stories, great stories about great jobs. So we incorporate that into the training. There's a lot of, for instances, if we're explaining, the SL800 and how much we use on this job. For instance, one time I had a job where we did this, and it's really kind of a relaxed atmosphere. Almost every time we'll bring in lunch or breakfast, so everybody's kind of it's just a really friendly, dare I say, fun environment. and it's really what you make it as the contractor. If you come into it with an open mind, and look, I was a contractor. I know the trainings can be burdensome and they take up time, and I could be doing this or whatever it is. But if you come into it with kind of a mindset of, we're going to cut up a little bit, we're going to learn a bunch of stuff, and we're going to have every question that we have answered, then it's kind of a fun thing. So that's what it looks like in the field. I prefer to do them in the field because it's a blast. We also offer them online. It's hard to bring that same atmosphere to an online session, but it's still kind of the same thing. I love whenever we use Teams a lot, Microsoft Teams, so they have the little hand on there.
Yes.
And I just think that's the funniest feature in the world. So I always tell people, click the little hand. Yeah, I think it makes me giggle. Yeah. So we use that a lot, and we kind of laugh about it, and it's really a lot of fun. And then the other side of that is at our facility. We don't require anybody to come to our facility for training. But if you prefer that, that's probably a better time than just looking at me for 3 hours. Our facility is state of the art. It's wonderful. Anybody that comes to our facility for a training, we have a training room. It's a classroom set up specifically for those types of things. Immediately next door, we have like a warehouse little hands-on area. So you get the hands-on part. We'll usually set some things up for you in there that's kind of hard to do out in the field. And it also comes with a tour of our whole facility, which is always a lot of fun. People are always just absolutely amazed. I'm still amazed. I've been through it a million times. And every time I'm in town, I make sure and go walk through the plant just to see how everything works. It's just an amazing state-of-the-art facility. That's a lot of fun to see and understand how everything works. I mean, there's no guys dumping things in the buckets. Everything is plumbed throughout. Dry ingredients, wet ingredients, they're all plumbed throughout the facility, and it's a good time. And then we always take you to a dinner or something after the training at some cool restaurant down in Southern Indiana where we're based out of. And what's really cool when you come to the plant is, Miss Danielle, our president, she'll pop in every now and again. So you get to meet her. TJ, our head chemist, will pop in,
Very cool.
And then Dick will come in, who runs production. I mean, just all these people that you wouldn't otherwise get an opportunity to meet. You get to meet them and kind of see who PM is at their core, which is really kind of cool. Everybody thinks PM is this big, huge company, and material-wise, we make more material than just about anybody else. But the reality is we're only about 65, 70 people total. So yeah, it's really cool to get there and really feel how not this big monster that we are,
Yeah.
It's really, the plant is great. I love going there. I love to get to see everybody, and I love to take contractors there. And look, if I do a training with you in the field, and that's all done, but you want to visit the facility, we love to do visits just for the sake of doing a visit. Contact your regional manager and say, hey, I want to go to the facility. Let's set up a date, and they'll set it up. And it's a good time. It's a blast.
I love it. Now, your facility, where's your manufacturing facility too? Is that the same?
That's all in
location?
Southern Indiana. Yeah. So
Love
we have our, I guess, I don't know the official title, but it's like our central office.
Okay.
Is like less than a quarter mile from the manufacturing facility. They're literally right down the road. It takes you 2 minutes to drive from one to the other. So the main office is right there, and then the big manufacturing facility is also right down the road.
Okay. Love it. It's incredible. I hope I get a visit someday.
Oh, say the word.
So
We'd
fun.
love to have you. What are you doing next week? I'll be there.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Okay. So you've spent hours and hours training lots of different crews and people, and you've spent over 5 hours training a single team before.
Sure. Yeah.
What drives that level of commitment?
Well, I think it goes back to the fact that I was a roofer.
Yeah.
That roofing background is really what drives all of that. We've been where our contractors are, right? We've sat through the trainings. We've sat through the sales pitches. We've dealt with the lack of follow through on those things. So that's the motivation, is the experiences that we've had that didn't live up to what we thought they would, maybe, I guess. It's just trying to be better, right? Just because something has been done in a certain way doesn't mean that it's necessarily the right way to do it. Yeah. So we're just trying to find a better way. We're just trying to find a better way to develop the relationship. We're trying to find a better way to educate. We're trying to find better ways to service. That's the bottom line to it, is just, we're just trying to be better. That's it.
Yeah. I love it. So refreshing. That's so refreshing, and what a great partner to have for your business.
And just so we're clear, it's certainly a mindset that I buy into, but those are not just Jeff's ideas or ideals or ideology or whatever you want to call it. That comes from the top of PM. I mean, every meeting we have where, Miss Danielle is involved, our president, that's the message. We just want to be better, whether it means selling more or what does it take to sell more, right? It's being better. How do we sell more? It's attract higher quality contractors that are doing higher quality jobs. And it all boils down to us individually taking ownership of what we're doing and trying to be better every day.
Yeah. Incredible. So why do you say you don't buy from a manufacturer, you buy from your friends?
So that comes from, I'm sure everybody in anywhere has heard some version of that, right? But that comes from an old mentor of mine that used to say that a lot. And that one was mine. I'll take credit for that one. But the idea behind it is not only mine. Again, it's something that we believe at PM. Anybody can have a product that's good, right?
Yeah.
And we certainly do. And there's other manufacturers that have products that are good. But your friend, your buddy, your pal is going to be the one that's there when you need them, right? They're going to be the ones that when you pick up the phone and you're on that job that we've previously discussed, that nothing is going right. I mean, you got 3 guys call in sick, the weather's not cooperating, and everything's just crumbling around you.
Yeah.
When you need help, that's when you need it. Nobody needs help when they're on the top of their game. They need help when things are going south. So that's kind of the mentality behind that is we're going to be there, whether you're calling to brag about a job you landed or you're calling to tell us, look, man, I really think we screwed the pooch on this job. No sweat. Let's figure out what we got to do to get it up to standard. That's what that kind of means to me.
I love that. I think as just a consumer myself, I mean, obviously we're all buyers, consumers.
Sure.
I believe in that totally wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. Like I would much rather buy a product from someone that is a friend and I know is going to take care of me and the outcome than could be just as great of a product, but we're not friends, right? So
right.
I think
we don't always use products. I mean, like I said, we don't always use great products in the best way.
Right.
And whenever you you paint yourself into a corner in that situation, you need to be bailed out sometimes, and we want to be there to bail you out whenever you get in a bind.
That's fabulous. Okay. So for any contractors out there listening to this episode and they want to get into coatings, what is that first step they should take?
The first step is going to be reaching out to your regional manager. And honestly, before that, and I met with a contractor recently, I can't remember where he was from, I want to say Minnesota. I trained him, small operation, father and son. They're not looking to do, these big, massive jobs and work all over the country. But what he did was he went to our website. And I mean, I think he literally read every word on our website because he was asking questions about this spec, like really specific questions.
Wow.
So I don't know if I would really recommend diving that deep into it, but go take a look at our website. Look at the different products that we have because look at our TDSs, our tech data sheets. Go and kind of just familiarize yourself with the products and stuff like that. Because inevitably, in the process of doing that, you're not going to understand something. So now you have questions that you can bring to the regional manager, talk to him, and just kind of say, hey, man, look, I'm looking to get into this. How do I dive a little deeper? And, there's jobs for everybody, right?
Yeah.
The small guy, like I was just talking about, he doesn't want to do anything more than about 50, 80 squares. He doesn't have the crew for it. He doesn't want to do that. But there's also companies that would walk away from a 50, 60 square job. So he kind of fills those voids. But yeah, just ask questions, man. Whether, we would certainly love it to be with us, but just get somebody on the phone and start grilling them a little bit. Hey, what's this look like? What do you do? And I would recommend, and I'm very confident in saying this, if you've never been into coatings and you're wanting to get into it, call 3 or 4 different manufacturers. Talk to all of them. I would encourage you to include us as one of those for sure, because I know, so I was a history major in college, and I'm naturally kind of a researcher. I want to know everything. I want to pick everything apart. So whenever I was a contractor, PM was kind of the second one we started working with, and I certainly loved them. But I literally was trying to replace PM constantly as our manufacturer. And I got samples from, any and everybody who would send them. I talked to them. I read their specs. I went through all that stuff. And honestly, I kept landing back at PM just because of accessibility to my sales guy, Randy, who's great. He's retiring. Actually, next month. He's about to retire. We're going to miss Randy a lot. But he's a great guy. He's actually the reason I'm with PM. He was the reason that I was a customer with PM. He's been a very, very powerful force in my life, my career for sure. He's a great guy. But that I always ended up back at PM because of that accessibility. I could call the office and ask questions to, Jay, the Jay back then. That's really what it was. And I just went off on a tangent. I don't even remember the question. The question. To get into it. So to kind of wrap up that question, I'm sorry. I'm originally from South Louisiana. Anybody watching that's from there, you know how we are. We can just talk and talk and talk. So to kind of wrap that question up, I would recommend reaching out to a few different manufacturers, include us in it, and you'll see why we're different. That's my answer to that question. Just ask questions, get involved.
I love it. Okay, well, so to kind of wrap this up, I'd love to know, this is a left field question here, but I'd love to know any feedback that you have gotten from crews or people that have taken the CLA courses with y'all and what their feedback is.
So most of the time, the immediate feedback whenever I'm, packing my bag up and leaving is, hey, thanks for taking the time to come and meet with us here. Thanks, that's the immediate. And then usually 2-3 jobs in, I'll always get those calls of, hey, we ran into this situation and I remember during the training, somebody asked a question and you addressed this issue and I remembered it, that kind of a thing. It's generally positive. We do have some people that aren't as chatty as I am and, they say that was a little long-winded or whatever the saying is. But generally it's positive. A lot of times we'll get people, contractors that, I'll run into at a trade show or something and they'll say, hey man, it was great doing the training with you. We got on this job and everything we talked about, we did, and everything worked out, that kind of stuff. That's generally the feedback I get. Unfortunately, I don't get as much feedback because, for me with the training specifically, it's kind of, I train these guys and kind of send them off into the world. And then if they need me, they call me. And usually the conversations are, hey, I have this job. It's got this weird thing on it. What do I do here? That's usually the conversations from then on. But it's mostly positive feedback. Again, like I said, we cut up a little bit. I try to get good food for everybody. So that's usually important. A positive. That's very important. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for shining a light on everything that PM does and for chatting with me over the course of these 3 episodes. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us, man. It's been a blast. I look forward to the next one that we do.
Yay! Everyone, please make sure you go to the Progressive Materials directory on CoatingsCoffeeShop.com. And then, Jeff, one last time, what is your website?
PMsilicone.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time and chatting with me, and hopefully I'll see you on another CoatingsCast very soon.
Looking forward to it, Megan. Can't wait.
All right. Everyone, stay tuned. There's more CoatingsCast to come. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. And for every time we upload a new episode, you'll get notified. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining us on this coating adventure. Stay tuned for more episodes, and in the meantime, be sure to follow us on social media to stay updated with all things roof coatings. Until next time, stay coated. For more information, go to CoatingsCoffeeShop.com.